Okay, let's unpack this. We've got something really interesting for this deep dive. It's a transcript, just a casual conversation.
Yeah, between two people, Emma and Jake, just chatting, practicing their English.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here isn't just the language practice, though that's part of it. It's how much you learn about their daily lives, their habits.
Your perspectives, yeah. All from just, a simple chat.
Right. So our mission really is to dive into that conversation. What can we pull out about routines, learning habits? How do these little details paint a bigger picture?
And hopefully for you listening, we can maybe uncover some points or perspectives from their chat that, well, resonate with your life or your own learning journey, perhaps.
Let's see what's hiding in plain sight in their everyday rhythm. So jumping right in, they start with breakfast. Around 8 a.m. it looks like.
Emma's having tea and a banana. Jake's got coffee and toast. Sounds pretty standard, right?
It does, yeah. But they both kind of emphasize it, like can't start the day without it, or it makes them feel ready.
That's interesting. It suggests these small, consistent rituals are like anchors. It's not just fuel.
It's psychological.
Exactly. A cue that the productive part of the day is starting. These little habits, done every day, they become, well, foundational.
And right after that anchor, their paths diverge a bit. Jake goes for a walk, Emma checks emails.
Which kind of highlights there's no single right way to transition into the day, does it?
True. Jake uses movement, maybe fresh air to clear his head.
Possibly. While Emma jumps straight into tasks, which might tie into her work setup. She mentions working from home mostly.
Right, valuing that quiet for focus. But she also brings up a really key point about remote work.
Missing the people, that buzz.
Yeah, missing that human interaction, the energy you get from being around others.
And our solution is quite deliberate, isn't it? Scheduling video calls during lunch.
It shows a real conscious effort to build that social connection back in, adapting the routine because the environment's changed.
Adapting the habit structure, yeah.
Okay, so moving into the work itself.
Nah.
Planning methods seem pretty simple.
Very. Jake uses a standard to-do list. Emma specifically mentions loving the feeling of ticking tasks off.
Ah, the power of completion. That little check mark. It's like a mini reward.
Totally. It leverages that basic psychological feedback loop, right? Reinforces the planning habit. Simple, but effective for them, clearly.
And for staying focused, they mention little things. Short breaks every hour, stretching, sipping water.
Which kind of makes you wonder, how much of productivity is these complex systems versus just consistent micro habits?
Their chat definitely points towards the micro habits. Those small actions manage energy, physical state, prevent burnout over the long haul.
And their tools are basic too. Calendar, reminders, no fancy apps mentioned.
It reinforces that idea, doesn't it? That the practice might matter more than the specific tech. They found simple tools that work for their habits.
What about background noise while working? This came up too.
Ah, yeah, they both prefer soft instrumental music. And they're very clear. Lyrics are distracting. That makes sense. Lyrics engage the language part of your brain, right? Competes with tasks needing verbal thought.
Exactly. So they choose sounds that don't fight for that same mental space. Emma likes ocean waves. Jake likes rain sounds.
Creating a specific sound environment just for concentration. Interesting.
Okay, let's maybe shift gears a bit to downtime, hobbies, because these things also feed into well-being and your capacity for focus later.
Good point. Reading came up, mostly weekends it seems. Fiction and self-help.
Suggests reading is more of a dedicated, longer session activity for them, not like a quick daily scan. And the genres show that mix of escapism and personal growth.
Journaling too. Jake does it sometimes, just to clear his mind. But Emma has a specific practice.
The gratitude list. Writing down 3 things she's grateful for.
Yeah, that's a well-known technique, isn't it, for mindset?
Definitely. It shows they're using writing not just for English practice, but as a tool for mental well-being, integrating it for a specific benefit.
And evenings sound pretty relaxing. Watching shows, talking with friends. Emma adds lighting a candle and reading. Jake calls it peaceful.
It's all about those wind-down rituals, isn't it? Finding sensory cues and activities that signal day is done, promote calm, connecting with others, or just having quiet solitude.
Meditation gets a mention, though neither seems to do it regularly.
Right. Jake's interested, sometimes uses an app. That's pretty relatable, I think. Knowing something's good for you, but struggling with the consistency.
Apps often seem like the go-to for building structure, but yeah, you still need the underlying commitment.
Exactly. Now, cooking preferences popped up quite a bit.
They enjoy it when they have time. Emma likes trying new recipes, especially Sundays.
Veggie stir-fry, pasta, sandwiches. Sounds like comfort food staples.
What stands out is the balance, I think. Cooking can be relaxing, but enjoying the eating is always there.
Right. And they balance cooking daily with ordering sometimes. It shows flexibility, recognizing limits on time and energy. Quick meals are okay too.
Drink preferences came up too, tea versus coffee.
Emma's more team tea, green tea especially. Jake likes both. But they specifically mention tea breaks as refreshing the mind.
Little habits, but they recognize their value. Those small pauses aren't just about the drink, are they?
No, they're like mini mental resets. Improve focus when you get back to the task.
They both also mentioned enjoying silence, especially mornings or on quiet walks.
In a world that's so noisy, actively seeking silence, that's powerful for mental restoration, shows a need for quiet to get clarity, find peace, crucial for deep work or learning.
Even rainy days got a positive spin, enjoying them from indoors, liking the sound.
Yeah, seeing them as cozy, perfect for a book and a warm drink rather than just an inconvenience. It's about reframing.
Pets are clearly a big deal for them. Love for dogs. Emma has a cat.
They see them as real company, stress relievers, sensing moods, part of the family.
It speaks to that huge emotional role pets play, doesn't it? Unconditional support, contributing to well-being, which definitely impacts energy for other things.
Briefly, they touched on dreams too, remembering weird ones like flying or falling. The idea of writing them down.
Just a little glimpse into the inner world there. And puzzles, word games, crosswords, Scrabble, playing online.
And they connect it directly to vocabulary building. That's key.
Yeah, turning a hobby into an intentional learning tool. Scrabble isn't just fun, it's active vocab practice in an engaging way. Blends learning and leisure.
Okay, so let's talk about getting around interacting with the world. Travel is something they both enjoy, especially quiet places.
And the classic mountains versus beach debate. Jake likes mountains, fresh air. Emma prefers the beach, sun, and waves.
Clear examples of how personal preferences shape where we seek relaxation, right? Tied to different environments. And they value both long trips and shorter weekend ones.
Even short breaks are seen as refreshing. Breaks in the routine.
How about driving? Came up briefly. Enjoyable for long distances, but only with lake traffic.
Music playlists are essential. And always using GPS because they get lost easily.
Huh? Relatable. The voice commands help with hands-free safety too. That's a practical point.
Flying alone was mentioned, kind of exciting and scary mix. Loving the window view, the clouds.
Yeah, that sense of wonder. And thoughts on airport food versus packing snacks, another practical travel habit. Traveling abroad too, the adventure of it. Japan was a favorite. Culture, food, tech, temples.
And trying to learn a few local words. That effort to connect, even basically.
Hey, what about communication at work? This seemed quite nuanced.
Yeah, they like a mix. Working alone for focus, but also teams for bouncing ideas around.
Brainstorming sessions are seen as creative, fun, but a strong preference for short meetings.
Definitely. Captures that need for both deep work and collaborative sparks, but valuing efficiency and communication. Avoid those long, draining meetings.
And social media. They use it, but consciously try to limit screen time.
Acknowledging it can be addictive. That's a very modern awareness, isn't it? Setting boundaries for time and focus. Important for productivity and just sanity.
News consumption seems similar. Quick online updates, short summaries preferred.
Getting the key points fast probably reflects busy schedules again.
Podcasts got a thumbs up though, especially useful while cooking.
Habit stacking. Using necessary chore time, like cooking, for learning or entertainment. Very efficient.
And texting versus calling. They choose based on need. Texts for quick things.
Calls for more personal chats, and voice messages as a middle ground when busy keeps the human touch. Strategic communication.
What about talking to strangers? They'll do it if the person seems friendly. Acknowledge being shy, but see it as good practice.
And those small talk tips are classics. Smile, hello, weather, simple icebreakers.
This links right back to their English learning, doesn't it? Pushing past shyness to interact is deliberate practice.
And speaking of practice, English meetups. They mentioned joining a local club, enjoying it.
Using games, role-playing, making it interactive and less intimidating. Seeking out those specific practice environments.
Okay, so now let's really dig into the core of their English learning approach. What's the overall philosophy that comes through?
It feels really clear, woven through everything they mention. Things like consistency over intensity, practice a little every day.
Resilience, too. Don't be afraid of mistakes, they're part of progress.
Active engagement, speak with confidence, listen and repeat often. Integration, Use English in daily life.
And the mindset piece.
Yeah.
Stay patient and positive. Enjoy the journey. Keep going strong, step by step.
It's a really powerful summary, just pieced together from how they talk about their specific habits.
So let's look at those specifics. Vocabulary building.
Yeah.
Writing words down, flashcards, repeating aloud.
Using a mix of tools, right? Apps for quick hits, books for deeper dives. But the key habits seem to be regular self-testing, like every weekend.
And actively reviewing, like highlighting words when reading. It's systematic.
Definitely. For speaking practice, they admit being nervous about public speaking.
But they push through, using short notes, rehearsing, classic strategies.
But they also value group discussions for that real-time feedback and talking to oneself, speaking aloud to build fluency, practice pronunciation, even tongue twisters.
Recording themselves too for self-correction. Plus online classes for interaction, teacher feedback, and those meetups for spontaneous chat. Lots of angles.
Listening practice involves movies with subtitles, helps catch words, aids understanding.
And repeating dialogue like shadow practice, mimicking pronunciation and rhythm.
Music is big too. Lyrics teach words, pronunciation, singing along helps fluency.
Using English news like BBC, CNN for vocab, admitting it's hard but gets easier. Subtitles help there too. And podcasts, again, easy to understand, good for multitasking.
Reading practice. We mentioned the fiction and self-help, but also magazines travel, lifestyle for simpler language, interesting topics.
Reading news summaries quickly. And that great idea of writing summaries after reading news combines reading and writing practice.
Yeah, multi-skilling within one activity shows they tailor materials to interests and level and actively link skills.
Writing practice itself sounds quite practical. Short, daily journals, emails, notes, reminders.
And they see writing as directly helping grammar, forcing them to apply the rules. Thinking about keeping a proper diary too, maybe to make it more consistent or reflective.
Grammar gets specific attention. Simple daily exercises, tenses, articles, prepositions.
They acknowledge prepositions can be tricky, but emphasize that daily practice, even simple stuff, helps. Grammar apps for revision, too.
It's that consistent, targeted effort, isn't it? Grammar needs deliberate practice, even just a few minutes a day.
And perhaps the most powerful habit they mention, using English in daily life. Thinking in English when alone.
Describing things, narrating actions internally.
That's real immersion beyond study time, making English the default internal operating system, basically. Pushes the brain to function naturally in English.
They even mention dreaming in English sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Suggests deep integration.
Plus, using social media in English, language apps daily, weaving it into the fabric of the day.
Their resource list is so diverse, too. Apps, books, movies, music, news, magazines, classes, meetups, social media channels.
It really highlights that effective learning isn't about one magic bullet, is it? It's drawing from a whole ecosystem of resources and integrating them.
Finally, motivation and goals. Setting small targets, like 5 new words daily. Writing weekly goals down.
And reviewing them every Sunday. That structured approach, focusing on small, manageable steps, that's key for momentum.
Breaking the big goal fluency into tiny daily and weekly tasks makes it less daunting and gives regular chances to feel successful, which reinforces the habit loop.
Wow. So, looking back at this seemingly ordinary chat, they covered so much ground. Morning routines, work habits, unwinding, travel, communication styles, hobbies.
And a remarkably detailed look at their integrated English learning strategies.
Yeah.
All just embedded in conversation.
It really showed how much insight is there if you just, well, listen closely. Their personal preferences, mountains or beach, text or call, music with or without lyrics.
They aren't just random facts, they're choices reflecting personality, influencing how they structure their days and approach challenges, including learning.
And that consistent thread, especially with the learning stuff, is the power of small, consistent practices. The breakfast ritual, ticking the list, short breaks, daily grammar, journals, thinking in English, reviewing words.
It's the buildup, the accumulation of these small, persistent steps woven into their routines that seems to be driving their progress.
Exactly. It reinforces that idea that mastery isn't usually about giant leaps, but about building sustainable habits that add up over time. Big results from small, steady efforts.
Okay, so for you listening, here's something to maybe mull over, a provocative thought based on this deep dive.
Consider just how much we can learn about someone's life, their values, their strategies, even effective ways to learn or grow ourselves.
Simply by paying close attention to the details they share in completely casual, everyday conversations.
How much untapped insight is potentially sitting right there in the chats you have, or maybe even just over here every single day?